Sometimes, walking away is the bravest thing you can do, but what if someone small follows you into that new life without even asking? Hey, I noticed a lot of you watching haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy emotional stories with twists and depth, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss what happens next. I boarded the high-speed train with nothing more than a phone, my ID, and a nearly empty bank card. That was all I had left after signing the divorce papers. The housekeeper called me just before departure, saying there were still a few things left to collect from the house. Just throw them out, I told him. I didn't want anything. Then he said something that hit harder than I expected. The little master's been crying for his mom. I paused. He'll get used to the new one soon, I replied, trying to sound detached. He takes after his dad even in choosing women. I used to wonder why it couldn't be me, but if he doesn't love me, then so be it. The train jerked slightly under me, signaling departure. I whispered my last words into the phone. Tell him not to worry. I'll never bother him again. Not in this life. Then I turned off my phone, swapped the SIM card, and left everything behind forever. Next to me sat a little girl, maybe 4 years old, about the same age as my son. Her big round eyes kept sneaking glances at me, her lips pressed in a tight line. I used to love kids. Now, I didn't know what I liked anymore. She was quiet, unlike her guardian, who talked loudly on the phone and cursed like he was alone in the carriage. I slipped on my headphones, leaned back, and let sleep take over. I didn't know how long I'd slept until I felt a tiny tug on my sleeve. I looked down and saw her, eyes shining but voice trembling. Auntie, my mom is missing. Can you help me find her? The seat beside her was empty. Confused, I quickly called the conductor and train police. After a short investigation, they confirmed it. Her mother had gotten off the train mid-journey. Surveillance showed her looking back nervously, almost hoping the child wouldn't follow. The carriage buzzed with whispers and judgment. Heartless woman. How could she abandon a child? All of it spoken right in front of the girl. But she didn't cry. She just sat there, stiff and silent, staring straight ahead. I don't know what got into me. Maybe it was instinct, maybe guilt, maybe something deeper I hadn't faced yet. But I showed the train police my ID and left my home address. So when I got off the train, I had one more thing besides my phone, ID, and that almost empty bank card. I had a child. Back in my hometown, I settled in quietly. The old courtyard house had gone unloved for years. I cleaned it up, planted some vegetables, and hung a framed photo of my grandmother in the living room. I named the little girl Felisa, Feli for short, and gave her my last name, Sohn. The paperwork wasn't easy, but I got it done. My household registry, once an empty page, now had someone else's name beside mine. Feli never smiled. Her face was always solemn, her eyes wise beyond her years. At just 4, she'd already learned how to cook porridge for me when I was sick. I couldn't help but think of my own child, Benjamin Jiang, the little master of the Jiang family. When he wanted to ski, they gave him an entire resort. When he wanted candy, they gave him a factory. A world away from our quiet life. One day, Feli asked why I kept her. I'm just a burden, she said. I gently patted her head and smiled. Because I was lonely. So, can you keep me company? She stared at me for a long while, then nodded. Okay. I'll stay with you forever. And just like that, something inside me softened again. Years passed. Feli started school. She became class monitor. Then one day, I got a call I didn't expect. Feli had gotten into a fight. I rushed to the school, confused and worried. She wasn't the kind of child to lash out. Her teacher met me at the gate, looking puzzled. The boy she fought with, he's a transfer student. Why did they fight? I asked. The teacher hesitated. He said Feli was trying to steal his mom. I froze. What? He saw a photo in Feli's pencil case of you two. He said Feli was shameless for pretending to be his mom. My heart stopped. When I got to the office, I spotted Feli sitting in a corner, quietly doing her homework like nothing had happened. I breathed a little easier. And then I saw the boy throwing a tantrum. I knew those eyes. I'd seen them fill with tears before. He saw me and ran straight into my arms. Mommy! I bent down, catching him before he crashed into me. But I didn't hug him. I gently pushed him away. You've got the wrong person, little one. I smiled softly and looked up. There he was, Lawrence Jiang, Benjamin's father. And the man I never thought I'd see again. Some people only realize your worth after they've watched you heal without them. Hey, if you've made it this far, you're clearly hooked. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Things are about to get even more intense. After Benjamin learned to walk and talk, he also learned to say no. He began pulling away from me. Maybe because I was the one who told him no more candy, or because I scolded him when he misbehaved. Kids don't understand right from wrong, they just know who lets them get away with things and who doesn't. Slowly, he stopped wanting to be around me. Then came the day Lawrence took him out, and Benjamin came back announcing, loud and clear, I don't want you to be my mom anymore. I want Aunt Miranda to be my mom. You don't deserve to be my mom. Get out, this is my house. I didn't cry. I just stood there, frozen. But Feli noticed. A few days later, she asked quietly, Mom, can I not be friends with Benjamin? I don't like him. Of course you don't have to, I said, surprised. Feli never disliked anyone openly, she was always calm, always reserved. Why not? She looked down. He hurt you. You're always sad when you see him. Her voice was soft but firm. He knows it makes you sad, but he keeps showing up. She paused. Can I hit him? What? I can't beat up adults yet. But I can beat Benjamin. Mom, can I learn martial arts? I want to be strong. I want to protect you. I laughed for the first time in a long while, and then I said yes. She threw herself into training. Her master once told me, your daughter's tougher than most teenagers I teach. And I remembered Lawrence, the man who once pointed in my face and said, who would ever love a woman like you? Well, he was wrong. Grandma loved me. Feli loves me. And now I love myself, too. Lawrence started showing up at my restaurant every now and then. Always alone, always looking tired. He'd order a few dishes, eat in silence, then take Benjamin home. The neighbors began whispering that he was pursuing me. A wealthy bachelor falling for a single mom with a kid? I always laughed it off. He's not blind, I'd say. He's just here for the child, not me. I used to wonder what his visits meant. Now I don't wonder anymore. Benjamin stayed in our small town for nearly 3 months. No amusement parks, no fancy malls. Just our little restaurant, Feli's laughter, and my silence. Maybe he thought the less attention I gave him, the more he'd win me back. When I helped Feli with her dress, his eyes would cloud over. When I made Feli a dessert, he'd sit straighter, hoping I'd look his way. But I never did. I used to love that child with every fiber of my being. Now, I could barely bring myself to care whether he stayed or left. Then, one summer evening, I closed the restaurant and found him sitting on the steps of our little courtyard, dressed in a suit, holding a fancy cake box. Lawrence stood beside him with gift bags. They looked like they belonged in a magazine, not on our dusty old street. "Dad, when will Mom be back?" Benjamin asked eagerly. "Soon," Lawrence replied. "We brought her gifts for her birthday. She'll be happy, right?" Benjamin's eyes sparkled with hope. He believed it. All of it. But Felly walked straight up to them and said, "Clear as day, you're wrong. Mom's birthday isn't today. You're lying." Benjamin snapped back, louder than he meant to. "We share the same birthday. I wouldn't get it wrong." Lawrence spotted me then, standing a few feet away. He called my name awkwardly. "Julia, happy birthday." I walked past him, unlocked the gate, and looked him straight in the eyes. "I forgot to tell you. I changed my birthday." He looked taken aback. "It's just a date," I added with a small smile. "Nothing important anymore, right?" The truth was, I used to love birthdays. Grandma made everyone feel like a festival. Even after I went to college, she'd fly across the country just to light candles with me. On my last birthday with her, I was heavily pregnant. I lied to her, told her Lawrence was caring. In truth, he barely acknowledged me. We were strangers under the same roof, connected only by a mistake that changed everything. I had planned to leave, to vanish quietly. But then, Lawrence's grandmother walked in with chicken soup and saw him passed out on the couch and me broken from the night before. That sealed my fate. She didn't care about romance or happiness. All she cared about was responsibility. "You're a good child," she told me. "Don't ruin Lawrence and Miranda." But what's done is done. Then I found out I was pregnant. I tried to be happy. I tried to smile. I wore the mask of a cheerful wife. But every day hurt. Morning sickness, swollen ankles, Lawrence's coldness, Miranda's sneers, the Jiang family's judgment, and still I smiled. Grandma flew in again, just like she always did, ready to stay through my delivery and postpartum care. But fate was cruel. That night, we saw Lawrence and Miranda together, holding hands, laughing. Grandma collapsed in the restaurant. She had a heart attack. She never recovered. The last thing she said to me was, "What will you do if no one's good to you? Who can I entrust you to?" I had no answer. She died before Benjamin was born. And I, with heartbreak and grief crushing me, gave birth alone in a sterile hospital room, screaming into the night. Afterward, Lawrence tried to be a decent father, at least on the surface. But I knew he was doing it out of guilt. Miranda had left for a while, but when she came back, she took everything. Lawrence. Benjamin. Even the faint illusion of a family I might have had. On Benjamin's birthday, she promised a grand surprise. They left me waiting all day and night. Lawrence didn't even call until midnight. Benjamin's too tired. We stayed out. That was the last birthday I ever cared about. Now, standing at the doorway, I let them in. I served water. Felly quietly pulled out the calendar and pointed. "This is Mom's birthday," she said firmly. Benjamin's eyes filled with confusion and maybe a bit of fear. Lawrence placed the gifts down awkwardly. "It was my mistake," he said. "Next time." "There doesn't need to be a next time," I cut him off. He went quiet, then asked, "Can we talk privately?" I nodded and led him to the pavilion. "This place is beautiful," he said, looking around nervously. "Thanks. Say what you came to say." "I noticed, you don't have anyone else." If you don't mind, maybe we could remarry? I stared at him. He fumbled with his hands. Ben's different now. Not as spoiled. Maybe we can give him a complete family. I tilted my head. Aren't you with Miranda? He hesitated. That's in the past. So are we, I said softly. And stop using other people as your excuses. First it was Miranda. Now it's Benjamin. Why is it so hard to admit you have feelings for me? Sometimes the people who break you the most are the ones who once held your whole heart. If this story resonates with you, let us know in the comments how you'd handle something like this. And hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These stories live because of your support. Love is strange. It creeps in quietly, even when you pretend you don't want it. I never told Lawrence I loved him. But I did. My racing heart, the way I would glance up at the sound of his name, those little things told on me. Our marriage lasted 4 years. I'm the kind of person who holds on too long. If Lawrence had never given me even a sliver of hope, I wouldn't have lasted. But he did, just enough for me to keep stitching up what was already falling apart. That's how I was raised. You don't throw things away, you mend them. And so I kept collecting his crumbs, hoping I could build something out of them. But that road? It was rough, filthy, and cold. Those fragments of love didn't light the way, they just reminded me how empty it really was. I used to think you were a man of strong principles, I told him. Like you couldn't bring yourself to love anyone other than Miranda. But no. You're just selfish. You even used Benjamin to try to crawl back into my life. He looked like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. So I'm too late, he whispered. No, I said gently. You're just in the past. He covered his face with his hand, shoulders shaking slightly. I didn't feel satisfied. I just felt tired. So I got up to leave. Then he reached out and grabbed my skirt. His grip was tight, knuckles pale with effort. I could hear his quiet sobs, the ones he tried to hold back. Don't come again, I said. Go back to your life. Take Benjamin with you. I pulled my skirt free and stood tall. By the way, I changed my birthday. It's now on the day we divorced. That's also the day I found Felly. She didn't know her birthday, so we made one up. We call it our rebirth day. So thank you, Lawrence. Consider your early birthday gift, my piece. He left, Benjamin in tow. I didn't expect what happened next. Benjamin clung to my leg, sobbing so violently I thought he'd pass out. Please, Mom, don't make me go. I'll be good. I won't make you sad anymore. He screamed, calling Lawrence a liar. You said Mom would forgive me. You said she'd take me back. Mom. I didn't move. Lawrence had to drag him into the car, where Benjamin pounded on the window, crying, shaking, begging. The driver drove away. Not once did Lawrence look back. Felly came up beside me, looking up with her wide eyes. They're not coming back, right? No, I said softly. They're not. She paused. Are you sad? I smiled, brushing her hair back. Everything passes, Felly. No matter how much it hurts, if you keep walking and never look back, you'll get through it. Lawrence and Benjamin are still stuck where I left them. But I've already moved on. I won't wait for them anymore. That night I dreamed of the past. Of Lawrence carrying me to bed after I'd fallen asleep with newborn Benjamin in my arms. He kissed my forehead and whispered, "Good night, honey." In that dream, I believed we could grow old together. But dreams fade. Lawrence was just a chapter. A painful, beautiful brushstroke on the canvas of my life. No more, no less. After our divorce, the Jiang family was quieter, but not happier. Lawrence barely spoke anymore. He traveled constantly. When home, he went straight to sleep. Benjamin ran wild until one day, he stopped and asked, "Where's Mom?" The nanny didn't know what to say. So Benjamin searched. Under the table. Behind the curtains. In the wardrobe. He couldn't find me. Then he remembered what I said that day, "Be happy. Be free. We're different, you and I." Back then, he thought I was just being dramatic. Now, he finally understood. "Dad," he asked one night, "did you fight with Mom? Can you say sorry and bring her back? I want her ribs again." Lawrence looked down at him, then said something I'll never forgive him for. "I didn't fight with her. I divorced her. She left you. She doesn't want you." Benjamin froze, confused. "She'll find new kids. Better ones." "You mean nothing to her now?" "No. You're lying." Benjamin cried. "Love you the most?" Lawrence laughed cruelly. "That was just something she said." "Stop it, Lawrence," his parents rushed over, trying to soothe Benjamin. "Mom's just busy," they said. "She'll come back soon." But she didn't. Lawrence watched it all in silence. Upstairs, the bedroom still looked the same. Our wedding photo still hung on the wall. He never threw it away. Not like he did with Miranda. He told himself it meant nothing. But he couldn't delete me. Even Miranda noticed. When she asked if he'd marry her, he hesitated. "Benjamin's still upset," he said. But Miranda saw through him. "It's not about Benjamin," she said. "You're just lying to yourself." And she was right. Years later, Julia remarried. The groom was a quiet, kind-hearted programmer. He treated her with warmth and respected Benjamin as his own. At the wedding, Benjamin sat beside Julia, laughing like a child again. Lawrence didn't join the guests. But he was there. Hiding in the back. He sent a red envelope with a bank card. Julia returned it. "You don't owe me anything," she said, smiling brighter than she ever had with him. Before she walked out, he spoke. "Julia. I've never told you this. I used to be jealous. Of Grandma. Of Benjamin." She looked at him, puzzled. "Everyone said you loved me most. But I always felt Grandma came first. Then Benjamin was born, and I stopped existing to you." He sighed. "Maybe I always wanted all your love. Maybe that's why I pushed you away." Then he smiled, sad and small. "And I wasn't drunk that night. I knew exactly what I was doing." He walked to the door. "If you're ever unhappy, come find me. But if you're happy, please don't let me know. I'd want to ruin it." He never did. He let her go. And that's the end of their story. Sad. Regretful. But real. Life doesn't always give second chances. Sometimes, healing means walking away and not looking back. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. What would you have done?